Welcome to Doctrine and Devotion, a podcast exploring Christian faith and practice from a Reformed Baptist perspective. My name is Joe Thorne. I'm the lead pastor of Redeemer Fellowship in St. Charles, Illinois.
And I'm Jimmy Fowler, elder candidate at Redeemer Fellowship.
What's going on, buddy?
Yeah. Well, we might as well talk about what we're going to be talking about today. I am doing well because I get to hang out with you right now. I was actually just talking to Joe and saying how happy I am right now to relax and record and just to sit and talk.
You know, I like hanging out, and we were just talking about it. It's fun to record.
That's what I just said.
I was singing the song.
All right, well, yeah, that's what I was just saying. It's fun to record. It's relaxing.
Yeah.
You know, like we get to hang out. It's just talking for us.
Mm-hmm. And we're going to talk about friendship again.
Again, part two. Friendship part two.
Well, you know.
We did BFFs.
We did BFFs in response to the article, and I think it might be helpful if we
actually define and talk about what friendship actually is.
Yeah, because we were having some fun with the article.
Because we looked really weird.
No.
Yeah,
the article looked weird.
No, we answered yes to
weird.
We answered yes to a lot of those things.
A lot of stupid diagnostic questions that were really unhelpful.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
The heart of the article was good. The diagnostic questions were whack.
All right, so what I want to know, Joe, is this.
Do you finally agree with me that they were whack?
No. What I want to ask you is, how's your week been?
Hey, baby, it's good.
Well, you ain't going to say baby,
It's been a good week. Hey, you know what we're going to do tomorrow?
Go see Logan.
Woohoo! We're gonna
I'm
go see
excited
a movie.
for that.
I get to go.
Yeah, you're finally going.
I told my wife. I said, what's going on tomorrow night? I said, I'm looking forward. We're gonna have a community group. We're gonna do this. She goes, yeah, but then you're going to the movies with the guys. I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to a late movie. She goes, what are you gonna see? And I said, Logan. And she says, I don't know what that is. I go, it's Wolverine.
And that's why she's not going.
She just laughed and laughed and laughed. She goes, "You're gonna go see a Wolverine?" She knows I'm not into comic books.
Yeah.
But like Wolverine, though, Logan.
I'm gonna have to hit the Red Bull on this one.
Oh, because you go to bed at like 8:30.
My goodness, a 10:15.
Well, we're recording right now at 10:30. It's late.
I know it's late, but you know, I wanted to hang out with you. This is like, I don't know.
I'm more exciting than Wolverine. That's what you're saying. I'm more exciting than Hugh Jackman. You just said it.
I'm willing to concede that. I am willing to concede that because if I'm sitting in those comfy chairs, I start to fall asleep.
Oh, those leather recliners at the movie theater.
I'm falling asleep just thinking about it. Okay, really. All right, so week's been good. We're looking forward to that. You're looking forward to Friday night. You were just talking to me about
date night.
How excited you are for date night.
Yeah.
What are you guys going to do?
We're going to partay.
Going to partay? But explain the partay.
Well, I don't know. There'll probably be some Netflixing and some chilling involved. I'm not really sure.
Now, Netflixing, we all understand. What do you mean by chilling?
You know, it's chill, hang out. You know, see what happens.
Okay, so that's the part. See what happens.
Yeah, we can see what happens.
We're just going to see what happens.
Yeah.
All right.
CWH.
Well, Godspeed.
SWH. See what happens.
See what happens. So, Joe, when we're talking about friendship,
we're going to talk about friendship.
We're going to talk about friendship. All right, part 2. So, what is a friend? Like, how would you define a friend?
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and define it.
Oh, you define it.
I'm gonna define it.
I don't know why you asked me if you're gonna.
I know, but go to a dictionary.
I'm not gonna put it up a dictionary.
Go to a dictionary.
Nope.
Look up friend.
Not gonna do it.
It's gonna say
see Jimmy Fowler.
See Pat Aldridge. That's what it's gonna say.
He's a good friend.
He's a great friend.
He is a good friend. All right. So we like to do this stuff without like writing things out because it's a little more how we just talk in real life. So what is a friend? I would say a friend is someone with whom you have a close relationship.
Yep.
And seeks your good and with whom you share a common goal or something. I don't know.
All right, so hold on. I like that. I like that seeks your good. And in whom you see a common goal.
Share. So, yeah, in whom you share like I don't know. It doesn't have to be like affinity, right? Like shared interest, but I feel like there's something more there. So like when I think about my friends, I think about there is an emotional connection.
I agree with that.
There is a spiritual interest.
I agree with that.
And there is intentional betterment of our humanity.
So looking out, like encouraging others, spurring each other on to be better.
I think that's a part of it. I mean, definitely a part of friendship is closeness, but it's not just closeness. There is a purpose in friendship that makes us stronger. Like when you start looking at what Scripture says about friends.
Okay.
In Proverbs 18:24, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Or in Ecclesiastes 4:9-12, you guys know this, 2 are better than 1, because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Again, if 2 lie together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone?
Yeah,
and though a man might prevail against one who is alone, 2 will withstand him. A threefold cord is not quickly broken.
So translation, if you get jumped, you need your homeboys to help you out.
Yeah, if you got 3, you won't get jacked. If you're by yourself,
you're gonna get jacked.
Yeah, I think like it's not just companionship. It's strength. It's betterment. It is. I think in friendship we have the ability to not just experience what God wants us to experience, but to become what God wants us to become, because we are made for community. I think it's not like back to Genesis. It's not good for a man to be alone.
Okay.
It's not just about marriage. That's about all of life. We are meant to dwell not in isolation, but in communion with other brothers and sisters. So we should have real friendships with other people. And those friendships are relationships that, I mean, we're talking from a Christian perspective.
Yeah, absolutely.
Friendships that...
So it's not just something that's going to self-serve.
Right.
It's serving.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Like, we'll talk about what's the difference between worldly friendships.
All right, we'll talk about that. But I'm thinking of like David and Jonathan.
David and Jonathan, yeah.
Right? Like, there was this mutual edification. There was this honesty. There was this emotional attachment.
Like real close.
Like really
like
close.
You could BFFs. I wonder if they would pass the tests, those diagnostic questions.
The BFF test? Are you... Okay, all right. So then what should accompany then a biblical friendship, right? Like if we're talking about this is a friendship, so what should accompany then a biblical friendship rather than, because we're already going to contrast that with a worldly.
Okay, so if we're... I still don't feel like we've defined friendship very well. We're just talking about it, but...
All right, well, now let's go ahead and redefine that.
I don't know. I don't know if I can.
I don't know how else you can.
Yeah,
you talked about in emotional. You talked about seeking each other's good.
Yeah. We're going to recommend some books. In fact, I've ordered them. I haven't read them yet. I've ordered them because I want to read them.
What'd you order?
I don't know. I sent them to my secretary.
All right, because I don't know. I don't know these books that you're talking about.
Yeah, they look good.
You didn't tell me. Is it for me?
No, I bought them for me.
Well, how many books did you get?
One of each.
So wait, where was my good in this? Where was my good? Where was Pat's good?
I was thinking my good.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. You got to work on your friendship. Pat and I, our friendship game is strong.
If they're good, then I will tell you that you should get them. I don't know if they're good yet.
All right.
But one is by Beakey and Hagen. They look pretty good. All right, so yeah, I think I want to read these books and I want to be able to clarify it because I think it's important for us because I think we know experientially and maybe intuitively what friendship is, and we can even biblically kind of come to some sort of consensus, but I'd like to put a finer point on it.
Okay.
But definitely when I'm thinking of biblical friendship, I'm thinking of things like love, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, love.
Service,
I would agree with that.
Sacrifice. Greater love has no one than this, that he lays down his life for his friends.
Love, service, sacrificed.
Right.
Love, service, sacrifice.
It's not a chant.
No, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think if there's anything missing from there.
I'm sure there is. I mean, those are just the ones that come to my mind, right?
Yeah.
Because so like when I think about Pat and you and I are all really tight.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so what is biblically reflected in our relationships? So there is accountability.
Yep. Absolutely.
There is correction.
Yep.
There is encouragement.
Yep.
That has to accompany.
I agree.
Exhortation.
Yep.
What else?
But see, you're talking about external things, and you know what I mean, like things that you do. But I do think what you mentioned there at the beginning there of love, that's just regardless of how much you annoy Pat and I. Like,
Yes.
we love you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's
That's
that.
gospel love.
That's gospel love. Like, you don't deserve our love.
No, I don't deserve God's love.
And we don't deserve, and I mean that. Like, we don't deserve your love because we have, I know I have hurt you.
No,
Like,
you've never hurt me.
Oh, you've told me I've hurt you.
Oh, because of that Logan thing?
No. Well, that one.
thing?
That was one thing.
That wasn't me.
But there was another thing you told me about where. All right, I guess we're gonna get
Go ahead,
real.
get real, man. I'm
here.
not afraid. I
Joe
don't
got
feel-
really upset. He goes, dude, I just need you to have my back. I just need you to have my back right now.
So one day I was venting.
You were venting.
I was venting.
All right, Joe
Here's
was
the thing.
venting.
Sometimes
Joe vents, and he's just being a baby.
no, here's the thing. Everybody vents. Sometimes when you vent, all you need is your brother to serve as a lightning rod to take it and ground it and get it away from you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need him to be pushing back on you at that moment.
Well, when you're being a baby, I'm going to push back on it. I'm going to correct.
When you're being
the
a
thing.
baby, then you tell me that I'm being a bully.
Oh, you're talking about that one time
that
on the
one time,
phone?
yeah,
The
well,
one time on the phone where we had
yeah.
the fight?
Yeah, when you
no,
were being
you
a
were
baby.
being a jerk.
You were being a baby.
You were being
You
a
were
jerk.
being a
I
baby.
was not being a baby. I was trying to explain. This is how it happens. I've already got
You
it
weren't
taken care of.
explaining anything, though.
I don't need to explain it to you.
Yeah, you
I don't
do.
have to. I don't have to
Are we
tell you how I'm
partners?
doing this.
Are we partners?
Well,
are
I'm
we
51.
friends?
I am 51.
No, you're not.
I'm
Are we friends?
51%.
You're not 51. You're 50.
All right, 50-50.
Yeah.
But either way,
50.
I don't 50. I just don't need to tell you. You just got to
Yeah, you
trust
gotta-
me.
no,
You just got to trust me.
Oh, you got to explain, though, because
Okay.
I'm ignorant.
All right. Separate issue.
Okay.
Okay. Was that Joe got really upset when he was venting one day. And
I
he's
get
like,
really upset, but I got upset.
you got upset. Joe, you were upset.
I was upset. Not really upset, though.
No, you were really
No,
upset.
just upset. Go ahead.
And so I was like, oh, okay, well, let's look at this other angle. And Joe just like, dude, I just need you to have my back.
Like, look,
I
in the
just,
moment-
but
in the
you know what? Even in that moment, it wasn't the worst time I offended you.
What was the worst time you offended me?
Where you inferred that I had thought the worst of you in a situation. You're like, dude, I don't want to talk about the situation. All right, I'm not going to give the situation. But you're like, dude, like, you're just thinking the worst of me right now.
Right.
Like, give me some slack in this. You should know me in this.
Were you?
Yeah, I don't think I gave enough slack. You're right.
All right.
And so either way, I'm just saying, that's what friends do. That's a love, right? Regardless of what's going on.
Right.
We still have each other's back.
Right.
Maybe in the situation we don't share all the things that need to be shared at that time, but there's still a support in there based on the love that we have for
And
the other individual.
what is love? Like, it's this seeking of the other's good. There is definitely an emotional component. I like the idea that love is emotion plus devotion. I like that idea, and I honestly, like, I've talked about this in the past in the previous episode. Like, I grew up having 0 friends, maybe 1 friend, and then in high school I finally had some really close friends and a group of guys.
Joe was a loner.
Yeah, basically, and I don't mind being a loner. It's okay, but there's always been that desire to be close to somebody. And then as a pastor, you oftentimes don't get really close with people.
No, it's kind of hard.
So like I love the church and I love the people in my CG. I love the members of Redeemer. I really do love these people, but still, it's harder to get really close because I'm kind of spread out. I got to see a lot of different people and all of that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until we started to get staff that I was able to spend a lot more time with people. It's like Pat, with you.
Yeah. So essentially, the church had to pay people to be your friends.
That's the only way I can
That's
have
the only
good
way
friends.
you can have friends.
Otherwise,
is they got to be on staff. Otherwise, ain't no one hanging out with you.
they got to get paid.
They got to get paid.
Yeah, but it's okay.
That's the only reason why I'm here.
I'll take it.
Well, I want a raise.
You deserve it. All right, so those are some of the so what should accompany biblical friendship? We talked about. So love is going to be like the core of it, right?
The anchor. If we're gonna why don't we use the anchor?
I like core.
No, we're gonna use
okay.
anchor.
Fine, anchor.
Fine. Love is the anchor.
Love is the anchor.
Now, what is the sail?
Oh, okay. So what's the boat?
What's the boat?
Well, you're going to go with the analogy. I don't like. We're not doing that analogy.
No. The boat is service.
No, that ain't right.
Serving one another.
No.
Is the boat.
Okay, so we've got love, service. We've got sacrifice. We've got accountability. Rebuke, exhortation, encouragement.
But I also rebuke. I think encouragement comes into it. But I think I want to really hit that goal that you're talking about. I think the overarching thing is you're seeking their ultimate good.
Right.
Right? Whether that's in quote unquote worldly situations, like I want to see Joe thrive. I want to see Pat thrive. I want to see them, not just thrive at the church, but I want to see them thrive in their marriage. I want to see them thrive as fathers. I want to see them thrive in their
Canasta.
Relationships. I want to see them thrive in Canasta. Speaking of which
we do.
You're kind of a jerk in Canasta when it's three-way. I just want you to know that.
What are you talking about?
No, Justin and I talked about it last night.
What are you talking about?
You get all upset. Here's the thing.
You were black 3-ing me.
No, see, here we
all
go.
night long you were giving me black 3s.
Joe gets mad if I start to win in a game.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. Justin and I talked about it.
No, I don't care if you win. I like it when you win.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No,
I don't like it when you're giving me the black 3s.
What do you want me to do? If you're sitting to the left of me, that's the only way I can win.
Okay, so from now on, I will.
Fine, sit to the right of me.
I'm going to sit to the right of you.
Sit to the right of me.
I don't like the black 3, dude. I'm your bro. You don't give me black 3.
Well, what do you want me to do? I can't give you the pile. The pile's too good.
Give me the pile. I'll feed you.
I gave you the pile until it got too juicy.
Okay, yeah,
Well, then I want that pile.
Yeah, I know.
That's the way it goes.
Friendship goes out the window.
Friendship goes out the window.
We're a little competitive when it comes to Canasta. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. So I want to see you guys thrive, right? Yeah. And I think that's an important distinction.
You'll be talking about me with Justin behind my back, by the way.
Yeah, we waited till you went to the bathroom because you're a tiny tank. I want to see them thrive in their relationship with God.
Right.
Right? And that's that encouragement, that exhortation is, calling them to repentance and then encouraging them to cling to Christ more.
And here's the thing. When you're calling your friends to repentance, or anybody to repentance for that matter, but especially your friends, when you're not pointing your finger at them and going, hey, tool, you need to repent, which I'm pointing at Jimmy right now just as a gesture. Yeah, that's not what you're doing. You're coming alongside of them and you're saying, man, I love you, but this is off. There's a better way to go.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to walk with you through there because I'm not any different from you.
Absolutely.
You're struggling here more than I am right now, maybe, but that's not the point. The point is that there's a better way. Let's do this together.
Absolutely.
And so when I think about the gospel emphasis in Christian friendship, I think about the same things that I think about in church and in marriage, right? So that whole Colossians 1:28 and 29, which were the verses that really God used to propel me into ministry, that we preach Christ, admonishing every man, teaching, this is not a quote, but teaching every man and admonishing every man with all wisdom, that we might present them mature or complete in Christ.
Yes.
And for this purpose we labor, striving according to all the strength that God provides, something like that. So it is this idea that we want people to really become more like Jesus.
That's right.
And it's the kind of thing that, especially as Christians, we have to remind ourselves of, because you do get comfortable. You do get, you like each other, we have fun, and it's easy to kind of forget that in light of all of the super immediately accessible things like laughter or fun or, common interests or whatever they are.
No, absolutely. And I think that's part of that accountability, right? There's been times where Pat has called me out for my heart and held me accountable. There's been times that Joe has asked me questions like, you seem off.
But here's the truth.
Yep.
You, Brian, and other guys, but you and Brian in particular.
Yeah.
Usually when you're called out for your heart, you're asking, check my heart on this. That's happened over and over again.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys are like a really good example to me and to others, because you're like, hey, here's what I'm thinking, check my heart. And sometimes you're like, no, man, your heart's good. And other times it's like, well, maybe it's a little off. So you're really open to that. And that's a part of friendship.
And that's part of friendship is I feel like it's a safe place to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And
because you're not going to get beat up.
That's it. There's a trust there that, one, I'm not going to get beat up. I've been beat up in the past. I don't feel like I know I'm not going to get beat up now. And there's a trust that you guys have my best interest and the glory of God in mind.
Here's the thing. All of us that are tied at Redeemer. So Brian, Rob, these are elder candidates and elders. Jeff, all these guys, Pat, Jimmy, and I. We bust each other's chops hard.
Oh, pretty hard.
And we, even in elders meetings, when someone's trying to make a point, we do that. And we don't just do it for comic relief, because sometimes you're dealing with such heavy situations.
Absolutely.
You've got to laugh a little bit. But we play hard because there is so much love and commitment and devotion. So some of you are like, dang, you're calling each other dummy all the time.
Yeah,
Believe it or not, it's a
endearment.
term of endearment.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Joe's my dummy.
Yeah, I wouldn't call somebody a dummy out the window. Like, hey, you big dummy. Like you big dummy. You big dummy. Like Fred Sanford. Elizabeth, I'm coming to join home, baby. We'll have to put Fred Sanford in the notes. So, but like we play hard and we make jokes because we are so close. That's how safe we are.
Yeah.
That's how close we are. That's how much we trust one another. I would trust Jimmy with my family. Like, I don't have any concerns about who he is. Like, I know that Brian or Pat or Jeff or Rob would take care of my family if I wasn't around. Like, we are true friends, and
we take care of each other's family now. Yeah. And I mean that like in the sense that Pastor Jeff will always pull me aside and say, "How much time are you spending at home?
Yeah."
How much time are you taking, like, how much time are you spending with Michelle?
This is a concern that we get, even with the podcast.
Even with the podcast, right? Like, and Pastor Jeff will actually pull Michelle aside and say,
do you feel safe?
No. I don't know what I would do if Pastor Jeff asked, I would actually, honestly, if Pastor Jeff asked that question, I'd be like, what am I doing wrong? I must be doing something wrong for Pastor Jeff to ask that question.
Pastor Jeff is the godliest, most mature elder we've got. He is.
No,
oh my gosh.
And he'll pull Michelle aside and be like, how much time is Jim spending at home?
Yeah.
How much time is he helping out at home?
Mm-hmm.
Is he, when he's home, is he off his phone and off his computer?
And he's not trying to get you.
No.
He's trying to make sure that things are healthy.
And if Michelle was like, yeah, he's been pretty busy, he'll come to me and say, brother, it's time for you to take a week off.
Yep.
You need to take a week off, put everything away, and don't worry about pay. Just get home.
Let's talk about the podcast, because
all right, let's talk about
a lot of people ask.
We get that.
So, I mean, and
I'll let you go with this one.
It makes sense that people ask, because we put on the most dynamic, most awesome 2 times a week podcast. All those other jokers are trying to do something, and they can't keep up. Listen, the Jofo is a force.
No one's got the Jofo.
No, it's a special thing.
Absolutely.
It's a special grace.
It's a divine grace that has been given by the Lord Jesus Christ for the edification of the body.
And for giggles. Giggles too.
Yes, giggles.
So here's the thing. People wonder, like, you guys are putting out 2 a week. You're putting on a conference. How much time do you guys give to this? Jimmy's squeaking in my chair. See, if you don't know this, Jimmy sits. All right. Jimmy sits when we record. Jimmy sits at my desk in my chair. Which is
my chair.
Okay. It is this giant leather chair that my friend Tim gave to me.
So good. My friend, Levita Tim, gave it to us.
At a giant wooden desk, and then I sit on the opposite side
as my subordinate.
With nowhere to put my
Well,
legs.
Here's the thing. Lead host, subordinate host.
Co-host.
Well, no.
lead host. Co-host.
I won't give you co-host.
So
I'll give you associate host.
What were we talking about?
Podcast 2 a week.
So
better than everybody
how do you
else.
guys? How much time are you guys giving? And people wonder, like, how, like what are you doing? So even the elders were like, hey guys, we want to make sure that you're not doing too much.
Absolutely.
So like, I always have a schedule available for elders to review, for my wife to review, and so
for Jimmy to review.
For Jimmy doesn't review it.
I review your
don't
schedule.
Review my schedule.
Don't lie.
You haven't seen it yet. I haven't sent it to you. Did I?
Not
sent it
the
to
new
Brian.
one. Not the new one.
Yeah, that's right. So here's the
Squeaky
thing.
Wheel gets the calendar.
So how do you, like, how much are you guys doing? And when the elders ask that, they're not trying to get us. They're trying to make sure that we're home enough. So obviously, the elders here at Redeemer put in a lot of hours for the church. We have, and the elders, even the volunteer elders, are really careful to make sure that the staff elders or any staff are not putting in too much hours.
Absolutely.
We're not going to put in too little, but they want to make sure that we're not putting in too much. But they wanted to know how much are you putting into the podcast? Here's the truth. I put in about 5 to 6 hours at the most per week on the podcast. We record, and then I do some blogging, and that's about it. What about you, Jimmy? What are you realistically? Because it's more than I do.
No, it's about the same.
It's about the same?
It's
about 6 hours.
About 6 hours. It's about 6 hours.
So, and that's, that's a
because we do all the social media. I do all the social media.
You do all the social media
on Sunday night.
Right. And I write the blog posts that go up with each podcast.
Which is why I don't respond a lot during the week.
Right.
Because I ain't got time to sit there and check up on Twitter,
Yeah.
Instagram, Facebook.
Like Jimmy, what Jimmy does is tell him what you do with Buffer. How do we? Because like seriously, like people want to know like how do you guys manage all of this stuff without?
We could do this in another episode. I'll just share this.
We share this part.
I'll just share this part. Is I use an app called Buffer, and so Joe and I usually have our episodes ready. Sunday before,
but weeks in advance where we've recorded.
Yes. And so we just have it up and ready. Joe's got it scheduled, and we use Trello to kind of keep everything organized. But then, on Sunday night, I'll schedule all the posts for Twitter, Facebook, Instagram
for the week.
So that takes me about a half hour.
But then it's just minor touch-ups, if anything, during the week if you got to do something.
If something comes up, if we make a quick change, or if something new comes up, like right now, what new came up this week was we're now offering your 3 new booklets on our store website.
Right.
And so, I put that tweet up.
So we work, because when we started this, we had to be really careful. We'll have to get away from
I actually turned away all my notifications once we started this.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. Because I'd written some books and, I'd been blogging, I got a lot of notifications. I had to turn them all off. And Jimmy thought that was weird until we started the podcast.
And now all my notifications are turned off.
It's all day long.
It's all day long. Otherwise, just ding, 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 ding,
that
ding,
on top
ding,
of the
ding,
businesses
ding,
that you're trying to run.
Exactly.
Like,
and I just ain't got
insanity.
time for that. So I might, like, during lunch break, check and see, what people are saying or if there's any responses needed. But I mean, we'll do that in a whole different episode.
We'll
but
cover that.
The
I know a lot of
important
people
part
asking.
is, we manage our time.
And the elders are checking up.
And the
we
elders
check
are
up
checking
on
up.
each other. Absolutely. All right. So biblical friendship, accountability, all these things.
Yeah.
How is this different from worldly friendship? And obviously worldly friendship can reflect the Imago Dei and have good qualities.
So I think we're going to talk about the worst case scenario.
Yeah, right. Like the bad kind of worldly friendship. So what do you?
I would say one thing is I think worldly friendship can be self-serving.
How so?
Where I'm friends with somebody so I can get something out of it. Mm-hmm. Like even our relationship has been accused at times of the fofo riding the coattails of the JoJo.
The reality is, my coattails are so small, a mouse couldn't stand on them. So it doesn't really matter.
I'll claim that one.
That's just so dumb. But I know people have said that.
But
and
you
make the joke all the time.
And I'll make the joke all the time because, I get it. I understand it. But I mean, there is a reality that worldly friendship can be like that. We see that in the corporate world. We see that like we've learned.
We talked about this with sycophants.
Like you do what you have to do to advance your own agenda.
Yeah.
And that's your own stature or place. That's not really friendship. That's just using.
You know what else I see among ungodly friendships or friendships that are worldly in a bad way?
What's that?
Is that they don't hold one another accountable. They won't. They will. Like, I was saying that one day, hey, why don't you have my back? Let me vent and have my back. And you're like, I'm not having your back. I'm telling you the truth, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Even though, you just give me a little time. Let me vent a little bit.
I guess I should have let you be a baby for another half hour.
Let me be a baby for half an hour, and then you come tell me the truth. But when they...
Yeah, you even said that. You're like, dude, even if I'm wrong, just give me a few moments. Just give me a few moments. Just listen to what I have to say. Don't try to fix it.
Don't talk about the nail in my head.
So, you are the podcast wife.
No, everybody knows you're the podcast wife.
Right there by you saying that.
Oh, I know that is a feminine thing in general.
Don't fix it. Don't fix it for me. I just need you to listen. Podcast wife.
Understand. I want you to want to do the dishes. I don't want you to do the dishes. I want you to want to do the dishes.
Hashtag JoJo podcast wife.
Okay. So one of the things is that they just don't correct or confront one another. And when they do, that's a sign of a good thing. That's a sign of a healthy friendship. But oftentimes it's just like, I got my friend's back. And we even see this in the church, right? When one, we've seen this in some big leaders that have gotten into big trouble, and other leaders will back them, even though there is a real problem that isn't being addressed. That is not friendship.
That's not real friendship.
No.
That's just keeping your mouth shut, your head down, so that you can keep your job.
You know what else I see?
What's that?
In worldly friendships, they will let their friends, quote unquote friends, ruin themselves. They'll let them really walk into danger. They won't pull them out of the fire. They'll, it's like if
There's no real care.
no, like
There's no real care for their betterment.
like salvation, like saving somebody. You rescue them. We have to be rescued. Like we all have to be rescued at times from situations, from decisions, and friends will do that really hard thing. They'll make that sacrifice.
So then what makes friendship hard? I mean, I can think of one I know right off the top of my head.
Sin.
All right.
That was a big one.
That was a big one.
That's kind of a catch-all.
Wow. You just
No,
Jesus
I didn't.
juked
I
it.
didn't Jesus juke
You
it.
Jesus juked
No,
this.
I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't. That's
I'm
not
going to
Jesus
say vulnerability.
juke. Yeah. Why is vulnerability hard?
Because you open yourself up to be hurt, right? Like, I mean, there's been many times Joe has hurt me in our friendship.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
Get out of here.
Joe, I've cried at night.
No, you haven't.
I have cried at night.
Crocodile tears.
What's cry? I don't even know what that means.
Okay, Google it. Crocodile. You do the crocodile.
What'd you say?
Crocodile tears to get sympathy from your wife. Probably that's why you're crying. You're not real tears. Go ahead. I ain't hurting you. What are you talking about?
Sympathy from the wife, which leads to
Well, probably some Netflix
and
and
chill.
whatnot.
So, but no, I mean like vulnerability, because you leave yourself up to be hurt. Like you're sharing everything about yourself. Like there's nothing.
You're not pretending.
You're not pretending. There's Joe and Pat and Brian and the elders know me really well. Like they know my struggles. They know my past. They know the things that trigger me. Like they know all these things. And to do that, I have to share and be open and honest with them. And you leave yourself open to be hurt. Like that, people could take that and really abuse it.
Yeah.
And use it against you.
Yeah. Vulnerability is about being honest.
Yep.
And kind of exposing yourself and trusting these people to take care of you.
Like I know I've shared in the past about abusive leaders. Like I've opened myself to vulnerability and had that thrown in my face. And it was hard. You know, it took a bit for me, like even here at Redeemer, right?
How did you not get jaded though?
I was jaded.
But how did you come out of that? You came out of an abusive church situation where you couldn't trust leaders.
Yeah.
How did you come out of that? Because a lot of people just stay in that position.
I think one was watching like you guys together, right? Like watching Joe, watching Pat, listening to the elders, you know, talking with Joe, like Joe and I met every week. But I think the other part of it was knowing, and this is just by the grace of God. This is just by the grace of God that it is that I need community, right? Like there was this. It is one of the means, I guess, of grace, right? Like knowing that I need to press in deep and not be shallow.
Like you can't, if you don't trust someone to be a friend, you can't have friends, and you can't ultimately be who you're supposed to be. You can't experience what God wants you to experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think I'm trying to think of how to word it properly, right? Like I think, like you said, people stay in that one spot because it's easy to. It's easy to stay in a spot of not being open, not being vulnerable, not being hurt. But we miss out on so much more that God has for us.
Yeah.
Because I've grown so much through, you know, like through Joe, through Pat, through Brian, through Jeff, through Rob, speaking into my life.
And sometimes just watching them, right? Like just watching how careful Brian is with his wife or
Absolutely.
his kid, like in taking care of them, or how thoughtful Rob is and how compassionate Rob
Absolutely.
is, or
Absolutely.
how disciplined Pat is in dealing with this, or how Jeff is works with his wife, and they're very different people, right?
Absolutely.
And so, you know, and Jeff is okay, Deanne, if you're listening and I'm wrong, I'm sorry. But it seems to me like Jeff is a little bit softer, a little bit more compassionate, and Deanne is a little bit... Deanne...
I love how you preface it, in case I'm wrong.
In case I'm wrong. But Deanne seems to be a little bit more like...
This is why I like Deanne, though.
oh, no, Deanne is awesome.
Oh, you always know where you stand.
If you want somebody
and
to
it's never,
if you're going to
never
disappear,
a harsh word.
If you want somebody to raise your kids, let Jeff and Deanne do it.
Oh, man.
They're godly people. But like Jeff is a little bit softer. Deanne's a little bit, I don't want to say harder, but
she's not harder. She's to the point. I can appreciate that.
So, but they are a perfect team.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I think that.
But I mean, what makes friendship hard for pastors though? Like I want to hit on that because I think we can we agree that it's harder? Am I wrong by saying harder? Like I feel like it's harder for those in the pastorate.
It is. It's harder for pastors because
they want to put on a show.
Well,
I'm not saying that facetiously.
It depends on the church.
Yeah,
it really does depend on the church. It's harder for pastors to develop friendships because in many situations, because they're spread thin, they have a lot of people to interact with, and they might not have the time to be invested in some deeper relationships. Some pastors find it hard to develop friendships because they feel like they can't be honest, because they need to maintain this perception of maturity or perfection.
Absolutely.
And in our case...
But hold on. I think there's also unrealistic expectations upon our pastors.
Yeah, some congregations, absolutely.
Like my dad and I were talking about this morning.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about this, how there are... Like I was... he was commenting about how honest you and I are. Like as far as our social media, as far as like what we do. We've never hidden our love for cigars or for good bourbon or for a good time. Well, but you and I both know we've hung out with other pastors and other people where we couldn't, like they specifically asked us, like, please don't post anything. Like, don't post me smoking a cigar. Don't tag me in this.
Right.
Because they have to hide who they are or what they enjoy out of fear that their congregation wouldn't understand or their organization wouldn't understand.
And that, everybody's in a different situation.
I understand that, but I guess I don't understand. Here's the part I guess maybe I do understand it because I've lived in that situation, so I don't want to be overly cynical.
Right.
But there's freedom in being able to be honest with who I am with everybody.
And honestly, like that is a gift that we can do that.
And maybe that's just a testimony to the people of Redeemer as well, right?
It absolutely. We have. Look, when Jen and I pastored, I pastored a church in Central Kentucky, and we had to play a kind of religious game.
All right.
So like we didn't really enjoy it, but Jen has a tattoo on her back. I've got some tattoos. My nipples were pierced at the time.
Wait. Stop right there.
What?
All right. I knew about Jen and the tattoo.
Right.
I never knew. This is the first time I'm hearing about this. You guys are hearing. You are hearing something I'm hearing for the first time.
I don't. That's not the point. No. That's not the point.
Shh. You had your nipples pierced. Did you have a stud in them?
Barbell.
A barbell.
No. Rings.
All right. Now, thank you. Was there a chain across those rings?
No,
there's got to be. Why else would you have rings?
Because that's the best way to pierce. Yeah. Well, here's what's embarrassing, right?
You had a chain, didn't you?
No, I didn't. Here's what's embarrassing. So I go, because the thing is we saw this rock video, and there's this like ripped drummer drumming in the rock video.
And you thought you could look the same?
No. Jen goes, oh, look at that. That was cool. And I was like, oh. Guess who's getting his nipples pierced? So I went and I'm a chubby guy, right? Especially back in the Southern days. So this is when I'm a student at Southern Seminary. So I go to this tattoo piercing place in like on Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky. And I'm like, yeah, man, I want to get my nipples pierced. I can't tell you the whole story because there's some crazy stuff, but here's what I can tell you.
I have just...
So hang on, let me tell you. You want to hear the story?
I want a photo. Jen, please give me a photo.
Homeboy says, all right, take off your shirt and sit down in this chair. It's like a dentist chair. So I pop off my shirt and I'm all like chubby and fat and man boobs and the whole thing. And so once I pop off my shirt, like a whole gaggle of teenage girls walk in to watch. There was nobody in there. It's like pop on my shirt. And then they all walk, and then they watched me. He had to put the clamps on, put the needle through, the whole thing. It was embarrassing.
Oh, Jen, please let there be a photo.
There ain't no photos.
Oh,
There ain't no photos. Google Joe Thorne nipple ring. It ain't gonna
Joe,
show
I'm
up.
Googling it.
No, it ain't in there. So, and you know what? I had to get rid of him.
Why?
Because once we had Catherine, she kept pulling on him when she was a baby. I was like, we got to get rid of those things. So anyways, the point is that, this church would talk about the evils of tattoos and the evils of all these things, many things that we actually enjoyed and did. And so we just kind of had to not talk about it. Once we moved back up here to Plant, we just admitted we will not play games. We will not pretend. We're going to pursue godliness. We're going to pursue Christ. We're going to be biblical, but we're going to be honest about who we are. And that's been true ever since. Mm-hmm. You ain't finding anything.
I'm gonna find it. I'll search the dark, deep web.
Two last questions. We got to wrap this up. One, why do people lack real friendships? And maybe that's related to some of what we talked about already. And two, how do we foster real friendships?
All right, why don't you start with number one?
No, I'm asking you. Get off the internet.
Hold on.
You're not going to find it. And don't Photoshop. You're going to Photoshop.
Wait, what shirt? Oh, I do have photos of your shirt off, don't I?
No, you just put somebody else with some other chubby guy with nipple rings.
No, that's not even funny.
Yeah, that's what you would do. All right. Why do people lack real friendship?
Well, I think one is people want to hide. I think that's one part. I'm gonna look at
It feels safer.
It feels safer to not share who they really are, and I think you kind of touched on that right there. But I think the other part of it is, I'm now looking at the pastor, right? Like I think that we don't allow our pastors to be honest.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah. I think we've been able to avoid most of that at Redeemer, but I also think the reason some people lack friendships is because they don't understand the value and the benefit that comes from real friendship.
Like they don't understand it,
right? It's like friendship is something that you see on TV. It's a dream. It's a pipe dream. You can't really have that.
So if you don't have the whole Chandler friendship, like the whole Friends, I'm thinking of the series,
right.
Like we've glorified it and we
sanitized it. We sanitized it.
Okay, I think that's fair. Yeah, we make it this like dream, unrealistic.
Yeah,
where it's really kind of it can be dirty. It can be raw. Like
friendship is rough, man. Real friendship.
Like you and I have had fights. Pat and I have had fights.
Me
and Pat have had fights.
Only when you guys are wrong. Yeah, but it's happened. I think that real friendship is a mixture of joy and laughter and tears and sorrow and purpose and drive and sacrifice. I mean, real friendship is not easy. Marriage isn't easy. Like best things in life are hard. The best things in life are really, really hard. Marriage,
Absolutely.
Kids, and friendship, right? These things are, church is hard. It ain't
Absolutely.
easy. People are going to hurt you. People are going to say things about you. And you're going to have to confront and ask and forgive and love and move on. Like all these things. Like it's definitely hard. I think one of the reasons why people lack friendship is because they don't understand it. Another thing is because maybe they do understand it and they don't want to try. They don't want to get into it. It's a lot.
Like it's too hard, you mean?
It is hard. But it's so worth it. That's the thing. Like marriage is hard. I've been married almost 20 years. It'll be 20 on May 24th. 20 years with Jen. And
where you guys going?
Nowhere. And it's 20. It's not a big one, right?
What? That's a pretty big one.
Is it a big one?
That's a big one. Is
it a big one? May 20. You know what? It's also our first daughter's birthday.
You could skip that.
Yeah. Thanks, Catherine.
For
ruining anniversary.
She
actually listens to this.
Which is so funny because like she's such a great kid.
Our daughter, Catherine, is the sweetest, most compliant, most non-complaining kid. She hasn't complained in 15 years of her life, not once, about anything.
We should be going somewhere May 24th, doing something.
It'd be fun. Hey, you and I should go out. You want to go hang out on 24th?
Yeah, let's do
that. So anything that's good is hard. It just is.
Absolutely.
It just is. All right. So if it's hard, we lack it. How do we foster it? Like some people don't have friends. In fact, I remember remember that movie Stand By Me?
Yep.
Stephen King, right?
Yep.
Great movie.
Fantastic.
Lots of cursing.
Yeah.
Made it a little better, maybe.
Classic.
Yeah. And I know I went and saw that with a friend. It was at the time when I had one friend. And we both kind of marveled at these 4 guys that were friends.
Yeah, the closeness of them.
And then I had a later friend in life who told me he went and saw that and he cried in the movie because he realized I don't have any friends and I want to have friends like that. How do we begin to foster friendships, whether you're a pastor or a lay person or whatever? If you don't have close friendships, what can you do?
Well, I think first be intentional. Like I think be intentional and wise, especially as a pastor. I think it's important as a pastor to be wise because you can't be best friends with everybody.
Right.
That's just, I mean, Jesus had, 3 close friends, one of which was his best.
His bestie.
His bestie. Yeah, Jesus had his fofo. And so,
are you saying I'm Jesus? I'm kind of like Jesus, and you're kind of like John?
I'm not liking this.
It's kind of like kind of what you said.
Not liking that.
You're kind of.
I am not liking that.
I'm kind of like Jesus,
but
and
I'm just saying,
like John.
be wise, be intentional.
What do you look for? What should they be looking for?
One, I look for authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, it's fantastic that my close friends are believers.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
You can only be so close. I mean, you can be very close with non-believers. But
yes.
It's a totally
so like I
different
have a group of friends from high school that I'm close with, but it goes to another level with those that that are believers because there's things we could talk about. There's things that I can share. There's struggles that I'm having. There are people that I can go to and say, like, here's what I'm struggling through. Mm-hmm. And they're giving me a biblical perspective.
Non-Christians cannot understand some of the most core issues in your life.
That's not to say they're not wise.
Right.
Because I've gotten a lot better advice from non-Christians than some Christians.
Sure, of course.
So I don't want to, so I don't want to give that impression.
But the core issue of who you are in Christ,
exactly,
and they don't
understand that, right?
They know how the world works oftentimes.
Exactly. So I think I look for authenticity, between a non-believer and a believer. I want someone that's going to be honest with themselves, because if they're honest with themselves, they're going to be honest with me.
Right.
If they're honest about their struggles, they're going to be honest with me.
Yeah.
About my struggles. I don't need someone that's just going to pinpoint all my problems.
Right.
If I needed that, I'd go see a counselor.
Yeah.
I'd pay someone for that.
You don't need a critic.
That's it.
You don't need a critic, but you also, you don't need just a pal who is going to slap you on the back and tell you not to worry about anything.
Exactly.
So you want somebody who's trustworthy.
That's it.
Somebody that can hold confidences.
Yep.
But not secrets. There's a difference, right?
There's a difference between the two.
Right. Like
absolutely.
If you're in trouble and your wife needs to know and you're not telling her, I'm going to tell her.
Absolutely.
And you're going to tell Jen.
Yep.
That's the difference between holding things in confidence and holding things in secret. So I think they got to be trustworthy. You've got to be able to know, like, this person is going to do what's right and they're going to look out for my good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what do you look for in a friend?
Okay. So honestly, I'm looking for a person that, like you said, is transparent, someone that I can trust. Mm-hmm. At the closest level, I'm looking at somebody who can understand me and can speak into that. Point. Right?
That's actually a really good point.
Because, like, we're all different, right? And so I'm hard to understand for some people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm hard to, but some people can get me and understand how I tick, and other people might not be able to. So the people that
Michelle comments on that all the time.
What's that?
About how we get each other.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm so glad we're at Redeemer. she's like, every other place we've been at, they don't get you. They don't get the humor. They don't understand it. They don't get like I would rub people the wrong way because I'd ask questions, especially at like staff meetings. Like,
right.
Just, I don't want to go into it.
Sort of like you did recently at an elders meeting.
All right. You know what? You big dummy.
You big dummy.
You big dummy.
All right. So,
but I'm just saying, like, people, you're right. I think that's a really important thing.
You got to find somebody that can understand you.
Here's the thing. Not just understand you, but you say this a lot, and I agree with it. Not think the worst of you.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
Yeah, you somebody that can give you the benefit of the doubt. But not be afraid to say, check your heart.
Exactly.
And you've got to be willing to say, check my heart. And that, again,
Exactly.
like you and Brian say that all the time.
Absolutely.
I don't say it ever because I don't want you checking my heart.
No, because you
leave my heart alone.
No, I just want you to tell me I'm
Just
right.
back me up.
Just tell me I'm right.
Back me
tell
up.
Me I'm right. I'm not going to tell you I'm right.
In 10 minutes, you can tell me I'm wrong. But right now,
just tell me I'm right.
Back me up.
So I've done that. I've been like, yes, Joe. Oh, I get it, man. I get it. I do that.
and then after I drink half my Coke, then he comes back. He's like, all right, dude,
All right, you're
seriously,
kind of dumb.
You're being a dummy. So that's one thing. But honestly, and when I look back at my life, right? So 44 years. When I look back at my life.
All right, 44.
Yeah, I'm 44.
Add 30 to that.
You stop it. You always say I'm old. 44. There have been a few friends.
Oh, here we go. I knew you were going to get to this. Go ahead.
Okay. There have been a very small number of friends.
Yep.
Who understood me, who I could trust, and who made me laugh so hard I cried. And that would have been...
Yep. Tell us all about him.
All right. No, it's a few. There's
Yeah,
a number.
yeah.
So one was Brian Olette. No, not Brian Olette. I forget his last name now because it was so long
you guys
ago.
are so close.
No. It was like freshman year in high school. So there's one guy, Brian. He like we were really close friends. I really liked each other. Another guy was there were two guys. One was Scott and another guy was JD. I loved them. I knew them. I trusted them, and they made me laugh. This was when I was a non-Christian.
Let's hear all about him. Here he comes.
As a Christian, when I was at Southern Seminary.
Here he comes, the savior of everybody.
Doug.
Oh.
Doug.
I was not expecting that name.
Doug is like a denominational leader in the SBC now.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna
name dropping.
No. I'm just Doug.
Okay.
So Doug and I would laugh so hard we couldn't breathe. And I used to sign all these documents because we worked in the same office for a while. He would sign his name Doug, and I would always add an H to the end of his name in the same cursive font, so it would say Doe.
That's pretty good.
It's awesome.
All right, here we go. Let's get to the name you've been waiting to say.
Steve McCoy.
Stupid Steve. Let's hear all about Stupid Steve.
Steve McCoy is one of those guys, one of the closest friends I've ever had, who understood me, who understood him, and we would laugh so hard.
Your closest friend. Okay, I get it.
And Jimmy Fofo.
Yay!
Like laughter for me. There'll be somebody after you. But the point is...
Wait, what?
What? There's always
Actually,
somebody.
you've told me that. You've told me if I ever
yeah.
move, you're like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, you're gone.
You're gone.
You're done.
I'll replace you.
Dunzo.
Anyway, so, go ahead, tell us all about Steve McCoy.
But no, my point is that for me, laughter is a valuable and rare commodity.
Yeah.
Because I don't find most Christians funny. I don't know what it is. Like... Christians aren't generally funny. Christian comedians are the worst comedians of all time.
Oh, no, don't say that,
They're
Joe.
the worst.
No, Joe,
if
that's
you're
not
a Christian
true.
comedian, you're not funny. I'll just tell you that right now. And don't send me videos of the guy that does the Chick-fil-A stuff. He's not funny.
Send all videos to Joe.
Oh,
Tag
geez.
him in every single video, please.
But there are a few Christians that, and for laughter for me is cathartic. It is helpful. It is a joy that we are, I think, intended to experience by the Lord. And so my close friends, like what's one of our greatest joys any day when the staff is together? Jimmy, you tell me, I'm not going to feed you. What is one of the highlights of a day? It happened at the elders meeting. What's the highlight of our day when the staff is hanging out as it relates to laughter?
Oh, I know now. When Pastor Pat laughs
so
till he
hard.
can't breathe, and he snorts.
He snorts. He's drinking a soda,
and it comes out his nose.
Like today, he
starts to choke.
He has.
I'm actually afraid sometimes he's going to die.
Oh, he will die laughing. That's a great way to go. Pat has this cough. Right? It's this awful hack. It sounds like he's dying.
Here's the thing, though. When he starts to laugh, you hear nothing. It just goes.
It's the silent laugh. But with the hack, it starts going. I got him at the elders meeting. So laughter is big for me. I'm just going to say that as a personal thing, for me, laughter is big.
If you want to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Doc and Devo or on Facebook /Doctrine and Devotion, you can head on over to the website, doctrinedevotion.com. Hit up the store.
I like that. The store's
grab
good.
yourself a t-shirt,
Books.
a hoodie, a journal, some books.
Custom Bibles.
Video stuff. Not custom Bibles. We're not doing custom Bibles.
Oh, okay.
You can also on
says juicy on the butt.
Oh my goodness. You can also click on the sign up page, get on our email list. Fresh pod every Monday and Thursday.
New articles
on Wednesday.
And in the future,
at some point,
2020 maybe.
Something like that. I don't know. Video content on Fridays.
We should stop saying that.
No, we're going to do it.
When?
Well, when I finally get the space that we can do it in. I want to do it right.
We ain't going to have any space.
I'll talk about that one.
All right. Oh, we're going to hang up. Okay, let's finish this and talk about it.
Later.